Welcome back to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom go through our comic book collection 2 issues at a time. And we're starting off with a Marvel Comics comic from 1975. It's Ghost Rider 14.
25 cents.
It's
Wow.
not in great condition, but I love the art. I love the cover. I really chose it just because of the cool cover.
The Uncanny Orb.
I guess most of them I picked because of the cool cover. But
Yeah.
I like the color scheme. I like the washed out kind of red
I
background.
like this little graphic up here.
At first I thought maybe as a kid you'd drawn on it with pen, but I think it's just the texture of the ghost typeface. But it almost looks like there's pen drawn on top of the
It does. I don't
really
remember
like
as a
that.
kid ever
defacing the comic.
defacing. The only one that we did was the one with the little tattoos. We took them out
Used
and
the
used the
tattoos.
tattoos. But
Well,
my
at
mom
least
was bright and had bought 2.
You had a backup,
We had a
yeah. We
backup,
still have
so-
it.
So
We'll have to do
that's-
that for the special 1 million subscribers. We'll take it out of the hard plastic. 1 million subscribers, though. You wouldn't do it for 1 million.
That's the one that I took when I had Stan Lee's autograph my case.
I know. All right. The other thing I liked about this one is action as you like it. I don't really. I think it's just part
Action
of
as
like
you
the
like it.
subscription information. It's like the end of it, but it's just you don't see that in a lot of the comics. Just some phrase. It's not like I don't think that's Ghost Rider's like catchphrase or anything. I don't think
Yeah, I
he's
don't
known
think
for
so.
that. Action as you like it. I'm the Ghost Rider. I like the zoomy motion lines on the rider too.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think the thing that makes it cool is the difference between the two, the contrast.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the Uncanny Orb, but this is not his first appearance, as you can see. He's back.
He's back.
Yeah, I also like one thing I've appreciated. I'm not a huge Ghost Rider fan, which is why I wanted to pick this one too, to get out of my comfort zone. Introduce. I don't think we've done a Ghost Rider yet.
I don't think so.
But one thing I've noticed through the comics, I like, depending on how far away from his flaming skull you are in the frame, the level of abstraction sometimes. Like, it's more
I see.
realistic, closer up, but when you zoom out, it becomes more cartoony and simplified.
Ooh.
Speaking of which, what the hell? They really changed his aesthetic there. I guess they
Oh.
gave him...
His teeth are
You can see his
unsettling.
eyeballs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's like his nose is more pronounced or something. It's a weird
There's
look.
no Nick Cage in there. That's scary.
No, that's a Kevin Bacon, I think, with a nose like that.
Ooh.
This is a really good opening,
Yeah,
attention-grabbing
this is-
opening page.
What is that belt that the orb's got?
It's just to hold his pants up. No special features. It's just part of his aesthetic.
That's crazy.
The orb is a ghost in this one. He died
Oh,
in a
okay.
previous issue, and now he's come back to get his revenge as a ghost.
Is this kind of alluding to it up here?
Yeah, I thought that was a cool detail to give the little dotted
Yeah.
lines. Like, it kind of. They could have. That's a weird thing because I guess the eyeball meat has to be white for it to
Oh,
look
yeah.
like a human eye.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to make it look transparent like that or translucent.
Yeah.
You could get a monster record for 95 cents. I remember, I think at Vinny's you got like a haunted ghost sound.
haunted house?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember listening to that. I think you brought it home when
I
you and
used to-
Claudia went or something.
Yeah, I used to sit when I was a kid by my mom's old record player, and I'd put that on. I swear to God, you get halfway through that album, and you'd be sitting there, it's just like freaking out, thinking that it was the house. Because we lived in an old, like a little cottage from the 20s, you know? It was like a
Oh,
really
wow.
small little place, just a 2-bedroom kind of
Small like
place.
this.
Oh, smaller than this. And
Really?
yeah, the basement had a dirt floor.
Oh, wow.
So I'd always like go, whenever I'd go upstairs to go to my room, I'd always like push on that basement door to make sure that it was shut, because it was just creepy. And I remember one time I pushed on it, but there was enough air pressure behind it, I guess, and it kind of pushed back, and oh my God, I was gonna have a heart attack when I was 10.
One time I was pretending to be a ghost and I really scared myself. Wasn't quite
remember
as intense. Doesn't take as much for me to get scared, I guess.
That was cute. That's...
I think it's cool that they've got an air car advertisement here.
That's like one of the hover vacuums. We don't get cars that fly, even though they promised us that in Scholastic when I
Yeah,
was a
they
kid.
have an air car in 1975. A new hovercraft rides on air.
Yeah,
Now,
but
it's
we just got
2023.
vacuums.
I still haven't tried one.
Oh,
So this is a weird like
wow.
writing thing. I guess it makes me wonder. So this is like a little note in this yellow part. It says the above message brought to you courtesy of overworked Joe Rosen, Marvin Tony, who were the writer and artist, I think, creative team on this. Let's see, we got Tony Isabella's writer, George Tuska is the artist. Okay, Rosen is the letterer, Wolfman is the editor, Marv Wolfman. But the point is they give us a whole bunch of backstory here in like just words. And it's weird after such an attention-grabbing first page.
Yeah.
It made me wonder if they originally didn't have this and they started off with this stuntman scene, but like something about it seemed confusing, or they really felt it necessary to give us all this backstory. So the backstory says, what happened last issue, you ask? Well, just for starters, Johnny Blaze got a job as stuntman for the Stuntmaster. To further confuse you, our motorized cowboy no longer turns into the Ghost Rider every night. What now happens is that he becomes Old Skullhead whenever there's an unnatural danger hanging around. Not a natural
Really?
danger, but an unnatural one. But I don't know what natural danger looks like. Like, for instance, when the Trapster tried to collect $1 million bounty somebody offered for Karen Page, wanted at least alive. Why somebody, quotation marks, offered that kind of bread, we really don't know.
that kind of bread.
But GR rescued Miss Page, and that, gentle reader, brings us back to where we were before we were so rudely interrupted, namely Johnny Blaze's first on-the-job stunt. Woo! I can't help but think the somebody who's after Karen Page might be the Kingpin, because I think Karen Page is a Daredevil character, right?
Oh.
Who could afford it besides the Kingpin? He probably wants revenge or something.
Yeah.
They allude to that. They allude to Daredevil later in this comic. But yeah, I was shocked to see Karen Page in here because I don't think of her as like a Ghost Rider character.
No, not at all.
I guess I don't think of anyone besides Ghost Rider. Or I always think of Mephisto as a villain of Ghost
Yeah.
Rider. But honestly, I think I watched the Ghost Rider movie with Nick Cage, and it wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible either.
Right.
But I just don't think they've really managed to nail.
No.
Like maybe I need to get educated about Ghost Rider, but you never hear about like classic Ghost Rider stories from years gone by.
Yeah.
I'm just not aware of them, I guess.
Yeah. Well, when we were kids, my mom would, of course, get like X-Men and Spider-Man and Superman first. And then, because it was like the thing we did every Friday. Go to it was our Ben Franklin had
Like
all
the
the
hobby
comics.
store?
He had all the comics
I
and
remember
stuff.
going to Ben Franklin.
And so we'd go and every week, and she'd bring home a bag of comics, but it would be different ones every week. So when it was Ghost Rider's time, it was like that's what you were into that whole week. Was just like, oh, Ghost Rider, and maybe Daredevil or
Yeah, if you're waiting week to week, or I guess month to month for the
Yeah, month to
individual
month.
titles, but if you're getting different ones every week, it's probably nice to have a change of pace as you wait for the next one of your
Yeah.
favorite to arrive.
And I remember, the first time thinking, oh, Ghost Rider. But then once you get involved in a story, like a storyline, something that's like a 2 or 3 book story arc, it kind of hooks you to that hero, to that character, and you really like it, or you learn to like it. So
It's so hard to imagine waiting month to month for comics in this day and age of instant gratification. It especially if it's like an anticlimactic ending. You're like, I waited 6 months.
for
Batman just hopped on Superman's back and flew away, and everything was okay. So anyway, Johnny Blaze is hired to ride his motorcycle up the staircase of a fire engine
Oh my
to
God.
rescue Karen Page's stunt double. He's a stunt man for hire. He works for the stunt master, who is also a stunt man, but a more experienced one, I guess. I do really like this big. It's like a half of a splash page. Like,
Okay, so it's for a movie or it's for a.
it's for TV show, yeah. He'll probably get into movies eventually, but you got to start in TV, I think, in the stunt
Okay.
world. I like this weird helmet they give him.
Yeah.
It's like looks like the Black Knight character, the
Oh,
Marvel
yeah.
character, kind of. But anyway, they're just like, oh, you sure are a crazy guy for wanting to do this stunt. And he's like, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm really cool. And they're about to do the shot when
Uh-oh.
some man runs out in the way of the motorcycle here. I like that reaction shot. He's like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's-
no. And they're all like, get out of the way, you're crazy, you're going to get yourself killed. This is like an accountant with the movie or the TV studio or whatever.
Oh, no.
And apparently Johnny Blaze cannot work for them because he doesn't have like a stuntman card or whatever. He hasn't registered with the union yet.
So he's a paper
He has to
pusher.
get a union card. So if they had filmed even one scene with this non-union worker, that would have tanked the whole thing. And look at this little smug. I love this smug little
Look
smile they give him.
at his pants.
He's got wide leg pants.
He's
He wears the boot cut.
definitely. Yeah, he's a
Next time,
bizarre
Mr.
looking
Collier,
dude.
be a little choosy. Don't settle for any bum off the street.
I'll kill him.
I know. Johnny Blaze doesn't really. I don't really like his personality that much. He's just kind of like arrogant and impulsive and like
Kind of a bro-ish.
motivated. Yeah, he's just very stereotypical. But
Yeah.
you know, the fact that he's controlled by a supernatural spirit of vengeance is interesting. So as they're trudging off to go get him his union card, suddenly these people are on a guided tour, and the guide and his followers are possessed by
Oh no.
the orb. So the orb is able to like
Jeez.
psychically, yeah, he freaks out there. Who knew he had such a mane of hair under that hat?
Yeah,
It's really
really.
curly. He's got the Norman Osborn.
Oh yeah.
He's got
But
that,
in a very creepy way.
he's
Wow.
got his curls are too tight. So suddenly he's like, they must be destroyed, and they all rush the stunt master and Johnny Blaze, who I guess this must count as unnatural danger. Can't help but turn into the Ghost Rider.
Well, the unnatural danger though comes from
The psychic
the
control.
orb being dead.
So if they were just really mad at them legitimately, it wouldn't have kicked in.
I don't. That's
No.
that's an interesting.
Maybe it's just like a
Point.
natural danger is like stubbing your toe. Or
Can you imagine you stub
choking
your
on a
toe
piece
and
of
you get a
chicken.
big old fiery skull head?
This isn't helping.
Are you mad? Oh, obviously.
Another weird shot of his teeth.
Yeah.
But you know, if he didn't have teeth, he'd look weird too. It's just a matter of how do you draw them where it doesn't look a little weird, a little
Yeah.
awkward.
This pose is creepy as heck.
Also, when you see his pink skin on his neck connected to the skull, it's a little weird. I guess you can see his
That's
chest
really-
coming through, so
yeah.
it's like, oh, you just lost the skin on your face
Ew.
temporarily.
But
It's
these
just
guys are like
temporary.
zombies for the.
This is one of my favorite panels. I really love
Yeah.
the flames and everything. So the stuntmaster gets knocked out by the crowd, but Johnny shoots his hellfire in a ring, and he's like, even though they're mind controlled by the orb, they're not gonna like rush to their own deaths. And he can see the orb, like he can detect his presence or something.
Gotcha, because it's a unnatural.
He's like, I thought I killed you with Spider-Man. I like these huge black, bold lines around his speech.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you see if they want it to sound a certain way or look supernatural, they'll like mess with the font or the color or something.
Right.
But that's a cool way to do it too, to make it sound, in your head it sounds like it's echoing or something.
Yeah, I like
booming.
that.
But yeah, he fought in Grand Central Station with Spider-Man. That was in, let's see, Marvel Team Up 15, it says. And so the orb had died in that encounter, but now from beyond the grave. Or, who knows? Maybe next issue they'll reveal he didn't really die.
didn't,
He's trying to
right.
make it seem like he's got supernatural powers. But for now, the hatred that drove him in life was intensified in death. Johnny Blaze, you not only took everything I had worked for from me, you took my life itself. And that is why I've come back from the grave, Johnny Blaze, to kill you. I like how befuddled he looks. Like, what?
Yeah.
It almost looks like he has a flame mohawk because he's
Oh,
in
it does.
profile.
I like though how much they can make the skeleton emote.
I know, I guess that's the
interesting.
challenge too, because like, we usually show our emotions with our muscles and like our facial tissues. So if you only have bone, you have to suspend your disbelief and be like, yeah, he's flexing his eyebrow bones. His furrowed bone brow. I don't know. Can you furrow? I don't know if you can furrow without skin.
I know. Well, you can't like look wide-eyed when you're a skeleton because you're
Watch
always
'em.
wide. I know exactly.
I like
think they
this
do a nice
really
job.
far out shot and how simplified his features are. It looks,
And it matches with the word panels really well.
yeah, it really shows that he's been stumped. And that's what happens is, well, the orb's like, you think I won't just make them run through this fire and kill themselves, and that'll be on your conscience too? So he's freaking out when all of a sudden they are all hosed down, which breaks the trance and puts out the flames. It was Karen Page. She had a hose, and she's
And
with
her
her stunt
stunt
double who looks
double.
exactly like her, but couldn't get her hose to work. She said.
Oh God.
So Johnny Blaze is like, wow, you saved me, but she kind of gives him the cold shoulder, and she's like, I have to go see if the stunt master's okay.
Well, after
That's
seeing
what-
that,
I forgot to bring that up. That's one of my favorite panels too. That weird transition between Skullface to
Yeah.
regular. He looks like an evil Chucky Finster or something.
ooh,
He
ooh,
looks,
yes.
Or he looks like the X-Men villain Arcade, kind of.
Oh yeah.
I think that's his name.
Wow.
But anyway, he's talking to the stunt double who, once she takes out the wig, looks like a different person. But yeah, they really draw her super similar earlier on. And she's like, oh, well, I'll tell you why Karen Page is giving you the cold shoulder. If you do this favor for me, we have to go to UCLA and do something. They don't really talk about what that is. I guess Johnny Blaze thought that Karen Page liked him, but then she's acting aloof now. So it's kind of like, this is like Johnny Blaze's
mystery.
personal life. This is that subplot.
Wait a minute. Now where is the orb?
She's got the same haircut as that crazy tour
It's the
guide.
tour guide, yeah.
They got their perms at the same place. Well, the orb has disappeared to the background of some other plane or dimension for now, I guess. So they talk, and she's like, well, we can talk about Karen while we ride the motorcycle. I'm like, I'm not like a super knowledgeable person about motorcycles, but the ones I've been around are super loud. So they're like, so, anyway about Karen, one thing you need to know. It seems like a bad plan, yeah. You're getting like bugs in your mouth and stuff, because they're not wearing helmets.
Oh yeah.
I could see why Ghost Rider, he probably would turn into Ghost Rider mid-air if he crashed. but
Exact. Well,
Maybe
not
her
the
perm's
new.
tight enough to be a helmet. Well, yeah, it might be that's natural danger, so it wouldn't kick in and he would just
Yeah.
die. And these two guys think he's really cool. They're like, man, stuntmen get all the girls. Some guys have all the luck. Yeah, isn't he cool? I don't know. They really want us to think that Johnny Blaze is cool.
That's hilarious. And the pirate's like, and what would you do with them? Your wife doesn't even let you go out bowling once a week.
It's a weird detail to add. Like,
Yeah.
maybe these characters will get developed later on more.
Pretty cool drawings though.
Yeah, I like the weird lines.
Yeah.
Like it's
What
almost
year? What year is this?
75.
Okay.
Yeah, I like those motion lines, even though it's all sort of in a shadow.
Yeah.
It helps.
That's artsy.
Yeah, that's
I like
really
it.
cool. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool line work. I'll say that for that. Maybe that's what this person just really liked to draw. That's why they like to draw these curly hairstyles.
Very voluptuous. This is an interesting look.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little. They went wild with the line work there. You can see every strand, and she's got the bowl cut bangs.
Yeah, that's something.
She's got the melon cat hair. Without the back, it's just like a helmet.
Yes.
It's like she's wearing a onesie with like a top head thing.
Ew.
It's weird looking. She's like, I really want a hairstyle that goes with our fencing masks. You know how they have a million lines on them? I want my bangs to
But
be
I don't
like
want
that.
any crossing. I just want hatching, but no cross hatching. Oh, that's funny.
So this is the errand I think that the backup Karen Page, the stunt woman, is taking Johnny Blaze. This is Richard and Wendy. They are the effects and prop man and the costume designer. They're visiting and they're like, oh hey, these are my friends. I guess the deal is Karen Page has had her heart broken so many times by Daredevil, and then they allude to some of their her ex-manager because I think she left. She must have worked at the law firm, the
Right.
what is it, Foggy Nelson and Matt
And
Murdock's law,
Murdock, yeah.
and then she decided to become an actress. So she's just sort of like got her guard up. That's the whole story that they had to explain on the motorcycle. They probably could have just taken 5 seconds before they
And
got
just-
on the motorcycle. It's just like, yeah, she's just been through a lot. Oh, okay, let's get on my motorcycle instead of like, she's. I got a bug in my mouth. She's been through a lot.
What?
Well, anyway, they're sort of making their pleasantries when all of a sudden a guy with a forklift comes driving at them at high speed.
And we have bolded text bubbles.
It's the orb again.
Well, and a great big eyeball.
I feel like roar is lazy onomatopoeia. Like roar is how you describe a sound. I feel like that's an adjective or something. It's not the sound
Right.
itself. Like roar. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a lion's roar isn't literally roar. Maybe it is. I also think it's weird. I'm used to seeing forklifts with like two
Two.
tines on
Yeah.
them. He's got the Trident version. They got it from Atlantis, from Namor. They had a bunch of extra forklifts.
Namor's into revenge. He's like, hey, take my trident lift.
So Johnny Blaze is like, scatter everybody, he's only after me. So he tries
Okay.
to protect his friends, so I'll give him that. Wouldn't it be cool to have one of these old Marvel Comics
Yes.
convention 75 retro shirt?
Wow.
When we went to when me and Lindsay went to the Comic-Con Museum in California, they had a lot of these books from the convention over the years, like little guidebooks and like maps and stuff, and
Oh,
different
yeah.
famous artists had done like the poster for that year. They had the physical objects there, like under glass and stuff. It was really cool to see.
Wow.
There's another funky expression. He looks like he smelled a bad fart or
Yes,
something. I do like that. Look the way they draw his eye.
His
with
eyes,
that.
yeah.
Sometimes it's got an extra. It's got the iris line in the inside. That one doesn't, and it makes him look a little crazy.
Yeah.
And his eyes are all whited out.
Wow. So he's possessed.
Yeah, he's got a little orb over his brain. I like the way they do that. So, conveniently, somebody had left this plank of wood, almost as if they were making some kind of jump. They're like, yeah, that's how we store things around here in the storage unit. In case you need to do jumps, it's conveniently set up for you.
How convenient.
The other thing is apparently the orb can shoot lasers. A laser beam, too close, alive or
What?
dead, this orb still has all his old tricks. So the orb, apparently one of his powers is to shoot lasers. So he's dodging the lasers, he's got to do some fancy driving. He just steers around them, I guess. And he's about to get cornered. The orb says something like, you thought those lasers were to kill you. I'm just directing you to a spot where you're cornered by the forklift. But as I said, luckily he's cornered right in front of a jump. and so he jumps over it. And apparently, Ghost Rider.
Whoosh.
I don't know if this is Hellfire or it's like a laser
Oh.
set. He just shoots the forklift. And he's like, oh, luckily he's only stunned. He just blows up the. Why didn't he just do that
Can
right
you
away?
imagine coming to someone is gently cradling your cranium and you look up and it's just,
Or it's this guy even.
Oh,
That'd
gosh.
be still a little creepy.
ugh.
Also,
Wow.
I was looking at these super T-shirts. I'm like,
Yes.
who was the audience for a Ghost Rider comic in 1975? I think of a certain maybe teenagers, preteen,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
some older.
Oh yeah.
But did they want a master and slave T-shirts? It's a
Whoa.
little weird. Some of these are a little edgy.
Alice Cooper.
I know.
I
Devil made me do it.
oh, that was big back then. I remember.
That's funny because I associate those kind of you see those magnets and stuff at bookstores that are like, let's all do a demonic
yeah.
sacrifice. But I didn't realize that sense of humor is old.
Oh gosh,
sort of.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was a little edgy for this time, but I guess not.
The Keep on Trucking dude and
Did
gosh.
trucking go through a thing? Because you have the what is it, US 2, that trucker comic that we have, US 4.
yeah.
It's like a highway name or something. We'll have to do an
Yeah.
episode about those. Then you have Ghost Rider.
Well, I mean,
And then
back
there's
in the
that,
70s, oh my dad came home with a CB radio, and then it had a big old antenna on his Dodge, and then he joined a CB club, and we went every Sunday.
Like he put it in his car?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
And it even had like a speaker, so you could do that. Remember those commercials where they'd be like, "Hey, hot stuff," and they'd show those girls. It's like, oh my god!
I don't remember that.
And when we joined the CB club, we all had to have handles. And my dad was Big George. And I remember
What were you?
Chili Bean.
Really?
Yes. And I can't remember my sisters though. I'll have to ask. But
Bigger George?
we
That would have been funny.
we would travel to see our relatives in Florida or Texas, but we get on the interstate like 75 here, going down to Florida, and my dad loved in his little Dodge, whatever it was from the 70s, getting into a convoy. So we'd be like
With
the
like
only-
semis?
Yes, we'd
And
be
you're
the-
just in a car?
Yeah, and we'd be like surrounded by semis, and he'd get on there, "Hey, Big George."
Like he's talking to the people around him who are driving?
Yeah, but there was like this lingo that you learned. And-
What is the appeal of the convoy? You just have people to keep you company while you're driving?
and right, and then that you would be like, I
If
really
somebody gets a flat or something
help
happens, you
each
have
other
some-
out or.
See,
or-
I feel like, how close do you drive in a convoy? Because I feel like if you're clustered, that's probably more dangerous. than if
I
you're just
know
all
it.
Giving each other lots of. I guess it doesn't have to be a conga line, but.
And then, you'd be going at this constant speed. People would like relay like trouble ahead or, things are slowing down at this mile marker or this mile. My dad loved it. And he'd be on there. And there'd be some times where he'd, there's Big George, breaker 19, or I think that's the station. And nobody would answer. It was like, oh, but then some trucker, come on in, Big George, this is so-and-so. And he
Do you
he
think some people
loved
were like
it.
snobs about it? Like, you're not a real semi, I'm not going to talk to you.
Maybe, but, when they did, it just made his
Why
day.
didn't he just become a semi driver?
I don't know. Well, because he would go and do his job and then come home and farm, too.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't
It
know.
sounded like he had a hidden passion. Not
Oh,
really
my
hidden at
gosh.
all. He should have done it.
And I remember just like, oh, CB Club, are you kidding me? But anyway, that
There
was
was
the
a club?
70s, yeah. And people would come and like,
Like you
Yeah.
would drive around together and use it? or
oh God,
just
you
do
would think,
stationary
no, it
CB?
was like, you just talk about equipment, and the guys would, and then, it would be like a potluck kind of thing.
So you'd all meet up and be like, oh, so you're Big George.
Yep.
Like,
You knew
oh,
people
yeah.
by their handles instead of their names and stuff. Yeah, it was the '70s, man. It was weird. It was.
Jack Kirby is back. King Kirby has returned to the bosom of the
Whoa.
blushing bullpen. Stanley loves that alliteration, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
This is where his heart is. This is where it all started, and this is where one of the greatest talents in comics belongs. So I don't know the history of Marvel that well off the top of my head, but my general idea is that I think Jack Kirby quit, then he came back, and they had like a love-hate kind of relationship, Stanley and Jack Kirby. It's interesting to see that in context of like, this is when that was happening, you know?
Yeah.
They were on again, I guess. I do like this front view of the motorcycle. This is also a weird like editorial decision, like that first panel that gave us all the backstory
Yeah.
that didn't really seem necessary or have much to do with the orb. Well, here, the transition is that Ghost Rider says, look, I'm going to go do that errand at UCLA for you, but don't come with me because he's trying to get me, so I don't need anybody around me to get hurt. And then we transition into this back like future story. It says the errand is destined never to be completed, for in the hours that follow, Johnny Blaze finds himself part of a unique supergroup whom the world will soon know as the Champions. 6 courageous souls know a brief moment of victory before being brought down to crushing defeat. If you remember, the Champions is a team comprised of Iceman, Ghost Rider, Hercules, I think that's the Angel, and I think Black Widow. They were like a
Okay.
weird Avengers, Defenders, like, let's have another super group, but it's a weird mixture. We got a couple mutants, a god, but from the Greek
Pantheon.
We've got like a gothic horror. I don't know if you could even call Ghost Rider's like trucker horror, like motorcycle guy, biker horror.
Yeah.
I
It's
could,
kind of in the
vein
age
of like rockabilly and like
Evel Knievel times.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, that was
it
big
has to be
time when I was
inspired
a
by
kid.
Evel Knievel. I remember. I think some of our old comics have like Evel Knievel action figures and stuff that you can buy. Ads for those.
Yeah.
We'll have to be on the lookout for that. So that's like just an ad for the Champions, because they're like, if you want all the details, be sure to pick up the Champions #1 now on sale and #2 on sale in 2 short months. 2 short months? You gotta wait to figure out what are you talking about. Iceman's gonna be on a team with Ghost Rider? I'll let you know about it in 2 months. Well, thanks for the heads up. I'll be thinking about it for 60 days. It seems like life was a little slower.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, Johnny gets back in his weird Black Knight looking thing. This is like a flash forward. He's back on the set, and instead of riding up the ladder on the fire truck, they made some kind of ramp to make it appear like he is, and he's like bummed out he didn't get to do the more dangerous stunt, I guess is the point they're making. And he catches the stunt girl who's the same character as Karen Page. And that's about it, except we get this little teaser where you think things are back to normal, but Karen Page has a pistol, and she is under the control of the orb. Vengeance on the Ventura Freeway. Not Ventura Highway by America. Which comes on our Google playlist sometimes, and I always laugh when they say the alligator lizards in the air. Alligator lizards? What is an alligator lizard? Is that a type of lizard? Or are you just over-explaining what an alligator is?
Man.
Also a little weird, Ultra Power 50mm binoculars, just great for football, baseball, horse racing, all sporting events. Also perfect, too, for the theater hunting, girl watching.
Yes.
A little didn't age well. I don't think you're encouraged to advertise things like that. Maybe I'm being oversensitive about it, but it's a little.
It was the '70s. It was a strange.
It's like a Peeping
time.
Tom solicitation.
So my book this week, special cover.
Did you draw that yourself?
I did. I did.
It reminds me of that great Squirtle
Yes.
from, what was it, 4-H or at the elementary school?
Yes.
Who was just shaded a little too much in the groin area and made it look like he had fouled himself.
Well, it is Superman.
It's interesting to see. Is there like a letters page that explains? Is this like a fan?
There may be.
A real kid drew this,
There
or
may
is
be.
this the artist's idea of what a kid drawing looks like?
That I didn't read about.
Should have done your homework.
I should have done my homework, but
Because like this, the coloring, it almost looks too perfectly sloppy.
yeah.
But I feel like the drawing of this, I couldn't tell you. It looks like something a kid could have done, but I
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
be surprised
absolutely.
if it was an adult trying to look like it.
Trying to look like a kid.
But
yeah.
it looks,
I like how the pavement disappears when
yeah.
to the car windows.
It's actually on a like a wire. It's a cable car. Riding along,
And this is the exhaust, this swirly exhaust.
and it spells out Tommy in pollution.
But
I like how kids draw roofs. It's like it doesn't even go over the whole building.
It's
It's
for
just
the
a weird
rain
triangle
to-
hat.
rain to build up on the side of the roof. And there's only, windows missing and
I like the sassy little curl.
yeah,
on
that
his
is
bangs.
good.
Or
Nice
he's a
little
Harry
pig
Potter
nose.
kind
Oh,
of Superman.
foreshadowing the Harry
Yeah,
Potter.
he's got the Kevin
Potter.
Bacon Ghost Rider nose.
He does, with one nostril. Well, one major nostril, the other one's plugged up. But yeah, it's nice pointy foot, no fingers.
The thing that makes me think it probably is an adult is sometimes the lines just connect a little too consistently. Or like the length of an angle of his cape, it almost looks
The
like an
emblem.
adult thought about how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I think about the drawings that you did when you were
They're
little.
way worse than this.
Oh, they are great.
Like Mutate Man.
Yes. And yeah. So
That's what we'll
anyway,
do. If we get 1 million subscribers, I'll do an art show of all my terrible muscle-bound characters drawings from like 1993.
your muscles didn't have muscles. Your muscles were so big that you only required one muscle. So our book opens up with it's the writing is the diary entry as recorded by Kal-El, the last son of Krypton. But then what's going on is an alarm going off, and someone, it wouldn't be the
James
the
Olsen.
joke of every Superman comic book, but he wakes up, he's like, oh, jeepers, it's 10:30. And so on Krypton, this day marks the Feast of Talor. But on Earth, it's just another typical day. But he's late, I guess, indicating that he's always late. He's just,
These
a
deep
scoop.
greens.
Everything, yes. His walls,
It's very. They're trying to make him look like a leprechaun because he's a redhead.
kind of.
He's got a very Irish aesthetic. And look, the greens in the car in the
car,
background and in the window. He's got greened out tint.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got like the St. Patrick's Day taxi.
I like the saturation of all the ink saturation.
Yeah, it's
is
crazy
nice.
to go from the washed out colors to these really deep, vivid
But
colors.
this is what, 94,
I don't know.
90,
98.
98.
And it's also jarring to see these computer
Those big
rendered
ads.
ads after seeing Spy on Girls, and it's like this weird line drawing and a photorealistic image of the it's a weird advertising what came a long way
Yeah,
in a few decades.
yeah.
Not necessarily progress, but just different.
Just different, yes.
This looks rough.
Yes.
Compared to these screenshots of with this game, that was these graphics, and it's
They're
just a bunch of
great.
hexagons.
And so anyway, Jimmy is running late, but what's going on here is we have Superman. He's out in the ocean with this boat that probably is being decommissioned, whatever. And you're like, what's going on? And then you see these guys, they're, they're firing at this ship. But Superman's like, nobody will mind me borrowing this mast. And you think about it, if they're sending, you're thinking they're sending a bomb, right? Why would you whack a bomb? Wouldn't it immediately go off?
Is it?
But it's
Maybe it's just
not
a
a bomb.
cannonball.
It's just a, oh, I can't remember what they call it. They call it something later on. But so he whacks it and it's like, what's going up? He said, batter up. And you see that taking off.
I
and then
see. It's like a satellite or something.
yes, and then he's kind of messing with Supergirl and, oh, come on, get it to second. And he's rounding first at Machu Picchu. And she's like, yeah, well, you be careful. I'm going to put some spin on this. Don't grab it barehanded. And then you've got,
Steel.
Steel. And what's it say? Mount Everest is second. You better hightail it after that.
Baseball.
They're playing baseball. And so he sees it coming on. He whacks it. And you've got, speaking of girls, you've got Superboy in Paris. And he's paying attention to the girls while they're telling him, you know, hey, the ball's coming, come on, it's coming. And Superman comes in. He's like, I'd turn around if I were you, Superboy. He's like, what? And it hits him, and he's like, Steel, why didn't you warn me about the ball? Which he did. So he puts some spin on it and throws it. He's going to throw it home. And back home, they've got the robot Superman up on a roof with
Cyborg Superman, I think.
yeah, with well, in this one, Superman robot number 1.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
A little longer title is up
We
there.
don't use terms like cyborg anymore.
And Jimmy comes in and he's like, "Great Caesar's ghost, Olsen. Lois is already." It's all the typical stuff from Spider-Man in this book. Or from Superman in this book. I love it. He goes, I want pictures, so don't forget to take the lens cap off this time. Right, Chief. Bye, Mr. White. He goes running up the back steps, which is closer. His leaves are a little suspicious.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he gets dizzy. He's like, what? What just hit me? I can hardly walk. And I hope this isn't an after effect of my accidentally drinking that alien isotope yesterday.
Oh, by the way, maybe High Times bought out the Daily Planet.
And I thought
I
that
don't
was...
know if Superman should smoke weed, though. I feel like that's irresponsible.
Yeah, you think? And so he's like, gosh, now everything's spinning too. And where's that light coming from? Jeepers, am I glowing?
Hey, do you remember watching this Batman the Animated Series when I was a
yeah.
kid? I love that cartoon. I have some of the DVDs of it, and it holds up.
Does it?
Yeah, it's really good. Even to watch as an adult, it's well edited, and the voice acting's really good. Speaking of which, the voice actor that did this guy, I forget, Kevin something. He passed away recently. I was sad to hear about that.
Yes.
But I really liked this cartoon. That was like one of my favorite versions of Batman.
I remember. So he's like, where's that glowing light coming from? And am I glowing?
Maybe it's the isotope I ate.
Gosh, what a goof. And then, meanwhile, the ball and Superman speeds back, and he goes, the robot Superman is like, please, Miss Lane, stand back. I must intercept either the ball or Superman, whichever arrives first. And then, can you imagine being Lois Lane up there and Superman is coming at full blast?
I know. I was thinking, I'm like, it's cute that they're playing baseball, but it's also kind of irresponsible. Because, it's impressive they can play baseball at this scale, but, sometimes you don't catch the ball or whatever. What if it kills someone?
Oh, yeah. So as Superman comes
That's what's
in,
about to happen, I guess.
she's like, I'm fine, but good grief.
Great Rao, actually.
Yeah, great.
I think he's the Kryptonian deity.
Right. Well, yeah, he says that quite a bit. And now
Jesus,
I keep
Rao.
reading it like Rayo, like the spaghetti sauce.
Ragu.
Great ragu. And
Rao.
then they go, well, where's the ball? And look at that. Superman's
Super
dog. Yep. And he's like, now Lois,
I always-
Crypto.
I always thought Superman's dog would be a different style of dog.
Really?
What kind of breed would you say that is?
Well, maybe Great Danish?
That's kind of what it. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
'Cause
I
the
always
tail and-
pictured like a. I don't know. I don't know what I pictured, but something fluffier. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Golden Retriever, is that a little too on the nose?
Yeah.
It's a little basic. Maybe it is nice that. Wouldn't it be funny if he had like a Chihuahua or something?
A chihuahua. And so all of a sudden, Crypto is growling.
He
And
doesn't want to give it
Superman
up.
turns around and he's like, what? Jimmy! And he's like, yep! And then he goes over and he's growling. And Lois is like, what's wrong with Crypto? He knows Jimmy. And he, great rail.
Almost looks like this
No, I can't.
outline of the Riddler. from
Oh, it does.
Since you can't see the face.
Not again.
Row, damn it!
And we have Jimmy.
Oh my goodness.
Weep wow. Weep wow.
He looks like the alien that you
Yes.
would see on like a bong.
And-
like
oh
that
my God.
stereotypical.
Yes.
Like this is what, I think with the popularity of the X-Files in particular, that shape of, like this is what aliens look like became so popular in the 90s.
And then they, of course they have to say, Turtle Boy, and then the alien. It's like, what won't he turn into? And then we have, even with this going on, and they're worried about Jimmy. And he knows, of course, that, it's the alien isotopes. You were supposed to deliver them, but you drank them.
That's a good expression.
Yeah, it's a nice drawing.
That's a little awkward for some
Well-
reason.
Well, because it
It
gets
looks a little
awkward.
unreal, but
He's
that
like,
looks more human.
right, and he's like, queep, and then Lois is like, I'll babysit Jimmy until this wears off, Superman. Rain check on our candlelight dinner tonight, okay?
I think his head's just a little too tall in this one.
Well,
His
she's making
forehead
it
got
really
taller.
awkward, though, too. Because he's like, don't tease Lois, my responsibilities, my enemies preclude our ever getting involved romantically.
Do you think Jimmy Olsen just likes Superman so much because interesting things happen to him when he's around Superman?
Yeah, wouldn't you? But why
He's
would
like,
you drink
I get turned
isotopes?
into things all the time, or kidnapped, or
Because you think the isotopes is going to come in some sort of package with a radioactive symbol on it. Why would you
don't
drink it?
drink symbol.
Well, yeah, like,
Well, maybe it was probably an accident. It was probably, he had to have read the last issue. It was probably really convincing. It was a really good reason why he did.
so we have Lois, and she's like, oh, sigh. And Jimmy looks back, yep. And,
Oh, so he can't even speak.
right. And so we go back. Superman comes in the side of the building, changes back into to Clark. Clint Eastwood. And then he comes out of the storeroom or whatever, and look at Lois's face. This is such a weird portrayal of Lois in here. She's,
Yeah.
well, Kent, showing up after all the excitement is over. What's the matter? Couldn't stand to see a real man, Superman, engage in the...
What?
Yes, isn't it? It's too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
She's very patriotic, and
She's holding up the patriarchy.
she is a huge fan of traditional masculinity.
Yes, she's toxic, man. And then he's like, if you'd agree to a date, Lois, you'd see there's more to me than you think. And she's like, if you were the last man on earth, I'd never. It's like, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Too busy washing my hair. That's such like it's like what they say in the It's a Wonderful Life or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah, it's definitely
It's
from
like-
the 60s.
That's the weird thing about Superman is sometimes the characterizations have to reflect like mid-century.
Yeah.
Because it's this timeless character, and it gets stuck in the mannerisms of like Leave It to Beaver.
Yes,
you know?
yes, it's completely Leave It to Beaver. The drawing style is very intense, very detail oriented.
But then again, would it be even weirder if you updated it and kept it with like the current lingo for Superman? It's like having Captain America be like,
Oh,
saying like, talking about memes and stuff. It would be a little jarring.
yeah, you're
You
right.
know, if
you're
he was
right.
defrosted and he lived in today's time, he probably really likes memes and stuff and contemporary culture.
Oh,
He
I bet
probably
he
finds it
would.
appealing.
Oh, yeah, he'd be into cats on the internet, definitely. Look at that chonky boy. But anyway, so Perry White comes in and where's Jamie? Where's Olsen? And you're looking at him, Chief. And then they discover, this is a great face, they discover that he's got a golden touch. So whatever he's...
Oh, wow.
So he's
got
got the
Midas
orb.
touch.
Yeah, he's got the orb, which they were going to auction for charity. Going to do a charity auction.
Now it'll really get a good price.
That's why they played the baseball game, was to raise awareness, and he was up there to take pictures.
Awareness about what?
The charity auction, then they were going to auction off the ball or the orb.
What do the proceeds go towards?
You'll see. And of course, Great Caesar's ghost. What a scoop.
Didn't he already say that?
Yes.
That's just lazy.
Yes, we'll
They
do a
have to have
special
more
edition.
old-timey idioms than that. Look it up in like the Cambridge, the Oxford English Dictionary or something.
Yeah, you'd think that they could.
probably have a bunch of lists of like.
Get a thesaurus, man.
Yeah. I guess they couldn't have Googled it.
So he goes, Kent, you and Lois will cover this event, and Olsen here can take plenty of photos of Superman auctioning the ball, okay? Weep, wow. Great. Now I
Talks like
suppose we
Carl.
should get this golden trophy appraised. I like how sad.
He looks so stressed
He's
out.
like, Perry, I have a dental appointment. And Lois is like, sigh, I'll cover the
Real
auction
men
myself.
don't care for their teeth.
Yes.
Like Superman.
Do you ever see Daredevil or Ghost Rider? He's got a great set of.
It's the flames that keeps him clean.
You've got the George ad.
The bottom of his face just never looked right for Batman to me.
Yeah, I get it.
We recently rewatched those movies. I don't think Lindsay had ever seen them, so
I
I
have
watched
never
them.
seen the Batman and Robin.
What?
I didn't like the idea of George Clooney being Batman.
Maybe I just went with Dad then. I could have swore you went and saw it with us in the theater. The one where
Arnold?
Arnold and Poison Ivy,
Mm.
Uma Thurman,
No, I haven't
and
seen it.
Bane. That's the Bane that's just like a big dumb muscle zombie. Like he's not
Yeah.
anything like he is in the comics. They got it a little closer.
Or
the
in When
second
Batman
time around.
Returns.
Batman. What is that one called? Batman Rises or something.
Rises, yeah. Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight, yes. So anyway,
He loves
come on,
green.
Jimmy. Let's get you another camera and plenty of film. See you later, Lois, Jimmy. Yup. Weep wow. He's following him. He pushes him. No, you're going with Lois. So they go to Krypton
So
Park.
can he not understand language either now?
Yes.
He's just getting pushed around.
I think he's just like simplified. He's just a simple little dude. Well, I don't know.
It wasn't that
turns
complex to begin with.
true. So they go to Krypton Park, and which is what Krypton is like, with the help of Superman describing things, and his knowledge from his parents.
These things lived on Krypton?
Yes, they were
Or
genetically
were they,
modified.
like, prehistoric.
No, this is Krypton.
They just had these
And
flying
if you-
around. God.
The charity auction was planned as a dedication of sorts for the just opened Krypton Park in Metropolis. In tribute to my birthplace, Kryptonian flora and fauna have been recreated in stunning detail. Visitors marvel at the flaming falls, striped river, scarlet jungle, and sections of the glass forest. What the?
Yikes.
So, yeah. So then, while they're waiting for the festivities to bring, well, Lucy, do you approve of your boyfriend's new look? And that's,
You know, that's a weird that they depict Krypton that way, because I feel like Superman sometimes is very like apple pie and baseball and a white picket fence and ma and pa, like
oh, yeah.
and and he comes from a place that's like, if you took acid,
Yeah.
like, he's like, yeah, that's where I grew up. It was terrifying and surreal.
But he came here as a baby.
He's like, sometimes I like to just stand in a field and watch the corn blow. That's enough for me. We don't have to have a psychedelic river and a brontosaurus with flower petals chasing
Look
you.
at his feet.
Yeah, he's got
Look at
pointy
this
little
dude.
fingers. Yeah, I don't know if he's scary, but I wouldn't want to see one in real life.
Yeah, it's
They've got rivers of lava.
that's forests
I mean,
of
I
glass.
guess you got rivers of lava on Earth.
But how do you play in a forest of
I
glass?
don't know if they look like that. I don't think you do. I think it's discouraged.
So Jimmy's going around taking pictures, and or the little alien dude. His girlfriend is Lois's sister, and she's like, as it stands now, it's a tie with Turtle Boy, and much better than the ouch human porcupine. Meep. And he continues to turn things into gold, and yes, and they have this thing, this display
It's
that
the thought beast.
thought beast can read and project your mind's innermost secrets. And she's like, sister, I'd clear my head of silly images if I were you.
Why?
Wow.
Why would it be advantageous for a wild animal to have that ability, to have that trait? How does it help it like reproduce or catch prey or something?
Yeah, that's.
I could show you your innermost
Innermost-
desire on the top of my head.
You'd think living in a colony of those, or whatever their group name
Oh my God, it would be chaos.
It would all be the same. They all want, like if they were banana eaters, there would all be pictures of bananas.
It would be like those infinity shots where
Yeah.
they have the
Oh my
camera within
God.
a camera of just them eating bananas infinitely.
Oh my God.
Because it's their projection of their projection of.
I like their feet though. They're completely round tracks. And so she's like, oops, not too embarrassing, huh, Luce? Thank goodness the ceremony is starting.
I
And
feel like some of these panels are wasted opportunities to actually depict more of
the planet,
Kryptonian
yeah.
culture. Just big solid color background.
Yeah,
What, you
yeah.
run out of time?
So they're starting, and Superman's up there, and they're, starting the ceremony. Cadmus Industries, thanks also to project supervisor Dabney Donovan. All four of him.
What?
Yes. And you're probably saying, Sackett, are you off your nut? Without Superman, there'd be no Krypton Park. And you would be correct. This man graciously provided technical assistance for this monumental undertaking. Jimmy's down here. Yup. I wonder if he's just walking around. Yup, yup, yup.
But didn't Superman come here as a baby? So this is a museum that's recreating the description of a baby's idea of what Krypton was.
No, but remember, he has all that info from his folks.
Oh,
When he
like
goes to
hologram
the
thing of
solitude.
his
Yeah,
dad.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
they
that's still
said,
just one person's account of the reality. Like, what if you had to rely on one
well, no,
guy's
because
description of Earth? It would be all messed up.
well, yeah,
No
that
matter who.
depends
like,
on who it
could-
was.
yeah, I guess his dad was a scientist, but still, if you just chose some random scientist to be like, Earth just doesn't exist. Can you describe what it was like? It would be all messed up because of
would.
everybody's got a little bubble,
But
and limits.
I
to
was
their
always under
knowledge.
the impression that in the what was it called, the Fortress of Solitude, that he discovered a vast bounty of knowledge of his planet and people.
Yeah, I
and
think that's right. He's got a bunch of hard drives, like news articles.
I love this panel where it's got Jimmy down here taking pictures of the Rainbow River, and then this guy. I wish the auction would start. It's like, ugh. But then you get this kaboom.
He's not bothered by the alien walking
Yeah,
around.
that's-
He's just impatient.
And then everyone remain calm, and then Great Rayo, the Firefall's riverbed shattered. The fire water's going to flood the gallery. Gallery.
Please,
So-
in the comments, tell is it Rao or Rayo? I feel like Rao.
I think Rao.
Rayo. I feel
But I started thinking about the pasta sauce, and it was like that.
Is
now
there
that's
a Rayo?
That's what
pasta?
people call it. Yeah, Ario, Rayo.
I don't think I
So
had that
now that's
pasta.
in my head. But anyway, he goes into Superman action, and he goes down there to work on fixing it with speed and his strength and his
Heat vision.
and his cold air breath that he puts the
All
flames
of
out.
his convenient, all-encompassing power.
But then he notices it wasn't an accident. There's a bomb. And of course, Lois, get back. There could be more. It's Superman. Jimmy's gone. Someone must have kidnapped him.
He
So-
looks like he de-aged. He looks really young all of a sudden.
He does. He
compared to
does.
earlier in the comic.
So he goes to scan, and of course, why would you do this? This was irritating to me. He scans all his normal places, like his favorite hot dog stand, his favorite table, and his favorite restaurant.
Superman's favorite hot dog stand?
No, Jimmy's.
Oh.
To look for Jimmy. And
Oh,
it's like,
gotcha.
and the bench where he met Lucy. And it's like, if someone took him, it would probably be pretty close by. Why would you zoom in on all these various?
Is he having
things?
hot dogs again? I told you, don't get lost when you go and have hot dogs.
So he's like, no sign of him anywhere. And then Great Rayo, Row.
It
That's-
could be Rayo. I'm just going with my
That's
gut.
Jimmy's signal watch alarm. So he's got a signal watch
He's kinda
alarm.
got a derpy pupil.
He looks like
I guess
Cary
his
Grant
face is
right there.
angled, but it looks a little weird there.
It's yeah.
He's got a little bit of a drifting eye.
Yeah. Well, that's one of his.
Superman with a lazy eye. That's scary with the heat vision. Oops.
Trying to go here and it's like flying around over here. So he flies over real fast, bursts through the wall. Of course, who is it? But Lex Luthor.
right?
And so he's getting ready to shoot, and of course the heat vision. It's like, is this your first time meeting? You try a gun on? Are you kidding me? He's like, dang, his gold touch would have funded my taking over the world. It can't end like this. And he's weep wow.
So is Luthor the one that turned him into an alien, or that was just he became an attractive target because he became an alien? For
Yeah,
other
that's
reasons?
what you get, is that he became attractive because they did a little story on the gold, the gold orb that was going to be auctioned. And,
Local boy becomes alien and
Yeah.
can turn things into gold.
and Superman's like, oh, yada, 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 Lex. You can analyze what went
What?
wrong from your prison
He's
cell.
been watching Seinfeld.
And then, so Lois catches up, and maybe this change is permanent. And they're chatting, and she's giving him her sexist crap. And then they look back, and they hear, Miss Lane, Superman? And then it cuts to, thanks for opening the door. It's locked from the inside. I've been stuck in here all day. Locked from the inside? That's weird. And good grief, Jimmy. Or if you're Jimmy, then who is that other fellow? A real life alien. Those isotopes I drank by mistake must have been his. So
What?
maybe he took my clothes in exchange. Jeepers. And that blinding flash. Our alien friend's exit, no doubt. And they go back to where the alien was sitting, and it's just all Jimmy's clothes. And Superman's like, I'm glad you're back with us, Olsen, but I'll certainly miss that touch of gold. Oh no, that's what Lois said, sorry. And there are some things, Lois. He's like, gosh, shut up, Lois.
Lois
And,
just wanted to get rich.
So he goes, so that's who drew the picture.
The alien drew that.
Uh-huh. There are some things that are worth more than gold. A playful visit from an alien youth. No real harm done, except to Jimmy Olsen's pride. And the charity auction netted a fortune for the Red Cross. Lex Luthor was drawn out of hiding and is now back in prison. And finally, to young Mr. Olsen's chagrin, several of the photographs taken by the alien posing as Jimmy were deemed usable by Perry White and made into the late edition of the Daily Planet. So he's ending his diary entry. And he's in his Fortress of Solitude.
Why does he have a big arrow that points to his house?
I think that might be the key. But
Oh, right.
only he
He's
can
the
lift
only-
it. Yeah,
or
yeah.
any of the very strong enemies that he has.
Concluding, diary entry for Varnock 15/3. The end? Not by a long shot. The Silver Age continues next month in Adventures of Superman 559. And the Polyester Age begins next week in Action 745.
Superman wears the shirt with puffy sleeves. That was
And-
weird to see him say yada 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 because I
Wasn't it?
associate that so much with Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, yeah. And that is the end.
And it's
Wink, wink.
especially jarring because they use all that old timey jargon earlier.
Yes. And the whole Lois wanting to date
I guess he
Superman
looks
so badly.
Pretty young. It's weird because sometimes he looks more like an adult man.
Well, yeah. And
And
sometimes
then
he looks very
sometimes
boyish.
he's like, wow, he's like 16,
Yeah.
18. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd. I like the stuff that he has in his fortress, though. That's cool.
Yeah.
So that was my pick. I
Weird
chose
to
it for
see
the cover.
like fashion ads on a comic too.
Yeah.
Well, it can tell you a little bit about like
Well, it's interesting because in here the fashion choices you had were T-shirts with "Keep on trucking,"
very alternative culture.
and then
It
here
shows you
you
how
got
comics
Gap.
maybe got a little more mainstream in the 90s.
Yeah.
Also, this cover has a weird texture. Is it like that? Is it supposed to be like that, or is it just
Old.
age?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget, when we get 50 subscribers, we're going to give away this Iron Man comic. It's nice and shiny. And,
Special cover.
We already told you what happened in it in a different episode, but you could have it. And then
For your
think
very
about how you
own.
watched that episode. Now you have it. And you could do your own episode. Thanks for watching.